you for being here today. Who wakes up in the morning and hold their phone the first thing before they touch their kids or their partner? My partner does that. Who takes their phone to the bathroom with them? It's okay. Remind me not to shake your hands or touch your phone. Why do you think we have that attitude? Great. Today we'll answer that question. EthiTech is something I came up with, and I'll tell you my story when I give my speech. And EthiTech is technology that is designed, developed, deployed in a way that upholds and protects human rights. Living in a democracy, a lot of us never read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Who read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? I love this. Who did not read it, I'm going to send you a copy. Living in a democracy doesn't mean that we don't know our political rights and civil rights. When you don't know them, you take them for granted. It's not a responsibility anymore. It's a privilege, and it's taken away from you. We don't want to be taken away from us. Our program today, I designed it. It took me 3 years, by the way, to work on this forum, so really thank you for being here. Thank you for our volunteers and for the Ethics Center for hosting us. The whole idea of today is I want you to meet and talk to each other about how the phone, your life changed before and after social media and smartphones. Talk to each other about things that you think it's only you happening to you, and it's not happening. Anxiety, let's say, racing thoughts. You don't spend that much time outdoor. You don't have interest in hobbies. You feel you've been always monitored. Sometimes you feel your phone is following you. Anyone feels that way? I feel now even Woolworth is following me. Our program today is designed around one thing. How can we look at the digitized life we all live today? And how can you reflect on how it impacts our human rights? And if you read the Charter, or if you read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, you will know how it's impacted. It's not written anywhere. So the whole idea is to explain how it intersects, and also explain how they intersect, and also explain when it's violated, how you know it's actually violated, and what to do when it's violated, how to say stop, even if it's not regulated and it's legally to do, or not regulated yet, so it's not illegal, but also it's not legal, what to do about it. I gave this speech in South by Southwest. It wasn't the speech for today. But gosh, Fenella was there, and there were a lot of people outside waiting to hear, and there is need. People are really hungry to know, or talk, or discuss this. I am a computer scientist by education, and I work in cybersecurity for 22 years. My son actually is now studying cybersecurity. But I'm also an activist by accident. And if you tell me why I'm an accident by accident, I didn't know I'm going to be sent to jail for speaking up or taking an action. It was 2 a.m. when the religious police came. They're not religious police, secret police, came to my house to arrest me. My son was 5 years old. He was asleep at that time. And when they arrested me, I was interrogated for an action I did early that day, driving a car in the city of Khobar in Saudi Arabia. And after the interrogation, I wasn't sent to the court. I was sent directly to jail. And when I was in jail, when they were outside, they stayed outside my house trying to arrest me from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. when I left. The one who was outside my house tweeting about it, he was a friend. He stood outside, and he was tweeting about my arrest. Can anyone read the last?
I just knocked on Manal's door. Her brother's wife answered and confirmed that Manal was detained 20 minutes ago.
Hashtag Manal al-Sharif. This is my story with social media. 2 a.m., you send secret police to someone's house, they'll disappear. I promise you. In Saudi Arabia, these things happen. I called an activist. She tweeted about it. Now it's called X. And Umar happened to see that tweet, drove around the area where I live. He didn't know my house, but he found it. He was tweeting for hours outside my house. And because of that tweet, when I was sent to jail with no trial, the whole world knew about it. By the way, he deleted his Twitter account. He's a completely different person now. That Twitter user really saved my life. Twitter, in 2011, I started a campaign to call for lifting the ban on women driving in Saudi Arabia. It's the most masculine society in the world, is my country. And it's an absolute monarchy where people don't have political rights. Everything is censored. We don't have a parliament. We don't vote. And Twitter was our virtual parliament. So when I use Twitter in Saudi Arabia, you can use it here to read the news or connect with your friends. We actually use social media in Saudi Arabia to start revolutions, call for social change, find people like us. Anyone old enough that they lived through 2011 and 12, the Arab Spring? You're too young, Hannah. You know, what did you notice when you were following? What did the Arabs do? Like, what was the thing something that shocked you? Like, I didn't know Arabs or the Arab Spring will be using these tools in this way. Were you shocked? Were anyone was shocked, or we felt natural that we can use? We call it tweeting the revolution. Egyptians toppled a dictator, been there for over 40 years, using Twitter. Can you feel the chill of how powerful these tools are? That you can mobilize the masses in a way that in a country where everything is controlled. But it's not to be online activists. It's really the things that happen offline. So Twitter for the Arab Spring was really the Twitter for the revolution. Until 2012, things changed. Saudi Arabia, because we don't have any public discourse, we don't have any place where we go out and talk about our political rights or whatever discussion. If you have more than 2 people, that's assembly. If you protest, that's 10 years in jail. So the only way for us is we follow the revolution through social media. This is a screenshot taken from a report about the growth of social media in the Arab world, or around the world. Can you see Australia? 6% in 2018, the annual growth of social media. And can you see Saudi Arabia? I don't know, I'll just go there. I'll show you Australia. Australia's here. 6%. And then Saudi Arabia was the highest worldwide with the growth 32%. Literally, a neighbor, someone I worked with, he tweeted to me and he said, I feel ashamed because my mom joined Twitter to follow your movement. And it took me seeing my mom joining Twitter to join Twitter. So people join Twitter really to follow the revolution and to follow the work that we do. But also, when you go public, you become public target. This is an email. No one can take photo of this, please. This is an email between me and Jamal Khashoggi. Anyone remembers Jamal Khashoggi? He's a Saudi journalist. For his use of Twitter, and I'll explain what happened. He was actually assassinated inside the Saudi embassy in Istanbul. Jamal was getting a lot of trolling because he was supporting our movement, the Women to Drive movement, and ending the guardianship. He sent me an email, and the email says, joy is for Manal al-Sharif to run over Jamal Khashoggi while driving her car, then hit a pole, and both of them die. Then I will declare that I'm the happiest person in the world. And Jamal was really very conflicted with this message he saw on Twitter. And he said, have you ever experienced hatred like this? For me, 2011, when I started the movement, I was thinking, yeah, those are just trolls, just ignore them. And I always say, I always repeat that ignoring is the utmost insult. When you want to insult someone, just don't talk to them. They don't exist. But actually, we can't ignore it anymore. This was 2011. Jamal Khashoggi, when he was assassinated in 2018, I saw how we lost Twitter to dictators. That's a screenshot I took of the world trends. So if you ever use Twitter, there's something called trend, which is a hashtag. Everyone talks. It's a grassroots. Twitter can't control those trends. How those trends become trends, it's a hashtag that a lot of people tweet and talk about hashtag at the same time. That makes it trend. Like how many people been tweeting about this? You can't just go and retweet yourself or tweet in the same hashtag. It has to be a lot of people. And on the day, so Jamal Khashoggi, he disappeared on October 2nd. And I was monitoring Twitter at that time. There were 2 hashtags becoming trend in Saudi Arabia and the Arab world, kidnapping an ant and a cockroach, and the other one, kidnapping soul beauty. And Jamal means beauty in Arabic. So the Arabic one was Jamal, اختطاف Jamal. There was something called watering down. So there is a legitimate hashtag, everyone tweeting in that. How do you water it down and make it disappear from people's news feed or from their timeline on Twitter, you water it down. You have a lot of people tweeting something completely confusing or close to water down the original one. On the day he was announced, which was October 20, that was the day he was announced he was actually assassinated. And the Saudis did it. I took a screenshot of the trend, but what really shocked me, this was a worldwide trend, this one. The worldwide trend that day was I'm Arab and Mohammed bin Salman represent me. Mohammed bin Salman is the crown prince who is actually, he's the one who instructed his assassination. That really struck me in 2018. And in 2019, I did this.
Because Twitter is really a powerful tool, and it's being used against us. I decided today, in front of everyone here, I'm deleting my account, my Twitter account. And I have 295,000 people in my Twitter account. So this is the number of followers today. I was on 50,000 followers when I was speaking about my friends who are in jail. These women are all in jail because they fought for the right to drive. And if you want to delete your account, you go to your profile, sitting there, I will not participate there, I will not bring users to them. You see this? It used to be you can delete your account. Now they give you 30 days to think. And I want to delete my account for good. My Facebook account, my Twitter account. Because for me, the freedom of speech safeguards all freedoms. And I'm strict away from that.
Anyone heard about Evident? It's interesting, Evident. So it's from Denmark, the company. Anyone watch Dark Knight? Anyone like Batman? I love Batman. Do you remember the scene when he was monitoring the whole city's phone calls to find the villains? This thing existed like 10 years ago. And it's so expensive that only countries like Saudi Arabia can afford to buy it. They will tell you that they use it for terrorism and national security. I'm considered a terrorist in my country for calling for women's rights. Terrorism law in Saudi Arabia they just updated it recently, beautifully, just made it more vague and more broad and more, you can just talk about women's rights and you're a terrorist. Literally, all the women who fought with me in the Women to Drive movement, they went to the counter-terrorism court for tweeting about women's rights and driving a car. So when the West say, oh, we're just helping them with terrorists, I'm considered a terrorist. This is Ahmed. Ahmed was targeted, and it was an interesting business case for Citizen Lab. Citizen Lab have amazing work helping activists, journalists stay safe online. And Ahmed was targeted by multiple hacking. But the one that really stood out was NSO Group, because a lot of Saudi activists were... NSO Group they create Pegasus. It's a long story about Pegasus, but Pegasus is, in cybersecurity, it's called the zero hack, the double zero hack. The double zero hack. What does the double zero hack? We have something called zero-day vulnerability. That means the maker of the technology doesn't even know about this vulnerability. It's very expensive because it has very short shelf life. So you have to sell it fast to hack those people. And then zero click. All these emails you get from your awareness campaign, people telling you not to click, read before you click, doesn't work. You don't even need to click. And do you know how they use the hack? There's a whole amazing project, the Pegasus project. You can read the details, but I'll just tell you how they were hacked. Anyone likes to send GIF images, those ones that goes in a loop, like the animated one? Great, yeah. So why I love Apple, with all respect to Android people, it has something called sandboxing. And that means when I send you something, I have to check it before I make it run on your phone or your computer. It's called sandboxing. But the only one that could actually, they found those hackers, they reverse engineered the GIF image, it bypassed that. Because what it wants to give you a good experience, that once you get the GIF, you don't have to click on it to play, it will play on a loop. They hacked people through that GIF image. They hacked people through a missed call on their WhatsApp. They hack people through iMessages. Very secure. And I always tell, one of the activists, when she left jail, she messaged me on WhatsApp just to tell me that she was released. And I was like, are you crazy? Talk to me in Wicker. Don't use Wicker. It's owned by Amazon now. You can use Signal. Signal is amazing. Actually, WhatsApp is also now encrypted. But she said, no. They can look at all our messages as if they're sitting behind me, as if they're looking at my phone. I'm like, how? Because it's encrypted. They can even decrypt it. I know they can decrypt it. Some can be decrypted. And I'm like, how? And then when NSO group came, it really takes over your phone. It sees your screen as if someone looking at it. It sends all that to their server control or whatever they call it. And they collect everything. They can turn on your mic. They can turn it off. I know you heard about Prison. It's an interesting movie you can watch about Snowden. It's fantastic what technology can do. In the past, they need to break into your house and install a mic, and they have to come back to change the battery because the battery dies. We're making sure that our phone's with us everywhere. We're making sure it's fully charged. Jeff Bezos was hacked. Anyone knows how he was hacked, and pictures of him and his affair were leaked to tabloid. Can anyone follow the news? Pegasus. But who hacked him? But who from the Saudi government? Yes, MBS, the Crown Prince himself sent him. They exchanged phone when he was in a tour in Silicon Valley, and he sent him a video. And when they analyzed the video, he was hacked for months, and he didn't know. If Jeff Bezos is hacked, who's left? The richest, one of the richest men in the world. I want to talk about this a beautiful effort of technologists. There was a list of 55,000 phone numbers that were targeted by Pegasus, were leaked to Forbidden Stories. And there was this months of investigation that you can go read about it. It's called the Pegasus Project. Very interesting to go and read about it. There's a whole, actually, The Guardian did the full story. They did a whole podcast mini-series about it. What's the impact on human rights for tools like Pegasus? What do you think? It's very clear. You're monitored all the time. They know where you are, what you're about. Yes, absolutely. Self-censoring. Your association. I have people who ask me, aren't you scared? Are your friends scared? Are you scared, Adam, to be my best friend? Jackie?
I didn't want to take your number.
Yes. It's funny because people actually, when you're an activist, people actually stay away from you. They're like, if you're monitored, I might be monitored too. Why would I associate with you? My beautiful, beautiful facial recognition. We have a data ethicist here, amazing interview we did with him on facial recognition. Surveillance and facial, this is actually a true picture taken from a store. Can you guys see what's written down there? They collect eye scans, voice prints, plus your facial print. You know what's a biometric data? Let me explain biometric data. It's who you are. When we authenticate, it's what you know, what you have, and who you are. What you know is your password. I hate passwords. What you have is your token or your code, and who you are is something that you can never change. It's your biometric data, and we'll talk about it in the panel. It really impacts human rights. This is a quote I took from 1984, George Orwell. Anyone has a beautiful voice to read for us? Kate? Who want to read for us? Jeremy, you want to read for us?
There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. It was even conceivable that they watched everybody all the time. But at any rate, they could plug into your wire whenever they wanted to. You had to did live, from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every sound you made was overheard, and except in darkness, every movement scrutinized. George Orwell, 1984.
Do you know Sydney is one of the most surveilled cities in the world? London, yes, London is on the top 5. Can anyone guess who are the 2 most surveilled groups in the world, ethnic groups? Anyone can guess? Ethnic group. But which Chinese ethnic group? The Uyghur, yes, and you'll be shocked if I show you the next one. Can anyone guess? Wild guess? Anyone? Canadians? Why would Canadians? Any Canadians in the house? Actually, Gaza Strip. Did you know that? They're the most prosecuted, they're the most surveilled, and they have a wall that no one talks about. Who walked to Ivy recently? Who did go to Ivy recently or the Universal? I have gay friends and they know how to party. Everyone should have gay friends in their life. Jeremy, shout out for you. We went there and all of them walked. And there was someone taking their photos and they walked in. And I asked, I said, can I ask why you're taking my photo? I'm just showing you my ID. She's like, oh, we scan it to match it with your ID. I'm like, you can match me with my ID, with your eyes. And she wouldn't. And I went around and I took a photo of what she was using. She was using something called pattern scan, looked it up everywhere, couldn't find who owns it. 2 people only in LinkedIn. They're in Canada. And pattern scan is used widely in Australia. And it's a facial recognition, it's a camera that's empowered by facial recognition. So it takes your facial print, and the venue owner can decide if you're a troublemaker to ban you from their venue. But not only that, can share your facial print with law enforcement and can share it with other venues. And they proudly say, 50,000, the bouncer that never forgets a face. Isn't that like, this is their marketing, by the way. I took a screenshot of, I don't know if it's still there. The other one, which is very interesting, is Clearview AI. They went, it's an American company, and scanned the internet for all these pictures publicly available without your consent. Now they have your facial print. If you have a photo online, they have your facial print. And they went and sold that technology to law enforcement. Do you know who used Clearview in Australia? Guess? Woolworth. They use it. Do you know they were hacked? So Clearview were hacked. 3 billion print being stolen from them. Those companies that aggregate data are good target, and if they have lousy security. Well, you can change your password, you cannot change your face. And this is why facial recognition for us is a huge thing when it comes to privacy advocates and human rights advocates. Because I can go out and protest tomorrow. They'll find out that I was there in that protest. My work will find out, everyone I know will find out. Employee productivity, anyone heard of that? You know when you sign that contract, it says that we have the right to monitor you? That's a digital panopticon. They literally, 50% rise in the employee productivity apps in the pandemic time. When everyone went to work from home, most companies went on. You know who is the highest companies? The countries, the highest number of countries buying into this technology and deploying it against their employees? You'll be really shocked. Norway and the UK and Australia. Norway. Exactly. I was like, wow, I can't believe Norway does that. And it's interesting, if you just put, they call it employee productivity. It's amazing. They can turn on your mic, they can turn on your camera, they can turn anything, they can take screenshots of your, that's for me is, if you don't trust your employee, why do you hire them in the first place? Why do employees accept such, like for me, freedom is to live with dignity. This is indignifying for me. The other one is, last month, they just published the Global Index for Digital Quality, or the Digital Quality of Life. Sorry, digital, I don't know why, it should be Digital Life, anyway, Index. Australia, when it comes to data protection or your privacy and cybersecurity, they really score lower than New Zealand. That's a very, very interesting to read. I just went to directly where 2. I love that I am comparing it to Germany. We have Germans in the house. You guys are good, 5. But US, and isn't that by design, sometimes I ask? Is it by design? And I think Candice will talk about it on the panel. Anyone heard of psychometric modeling techniques? Good. You heard of Cambridge Analytica? This is what they used. You know why? Because we're eagerly using social media. The more you use your phone, the more data they collect and they know who you are. If you go to any digital marketers, and I love digital marketers because they give me like all the nightmares, but also all the information of how dictators work. They promise you by 2030, they will target people with customized messaging. They know Kate, what she likes, what she had for breakfast, what she does for a living, what she bought yesterday, and they target you. Women found them. They're in the lowest mood or the lowest like self-esteem on Monday afternoon, which is funny. So Monday, when you finish your work, that's your lowest you're lowest as a woman. How come marketers know that? And they target women on that day to sell them things that make them look prettier or whatever. It's interesting they understand us very well. I want to show this video that was leaked about Cambridge Analytica. There's beautiful The Great Hack on a documentary on Netflix. You can watch and understand how they use our social media accounts and information to hyper-target people and sway them and we'll talk about the disinformation in The Voice. That really, it was the past dystopia is our present dystopia here. What's the psychographic modeling techniques? Please learn this word, take a photo, talk about it. It's really, whatever you do online, how you use your device. I'll just say a funny example, how this how they do psychoanalysis by how you use your phone. Even the things you don't post, even how you use your phone, when you open your phone, people they found who have always low battery, 10% and lower, they're high risk takers. So if you are being denied a loan or a credit card, it could be one of the reasons. They study how people drinking, they know if people are drinkers, even if you use cash, which is interesting, by monitoring how many times you go to the bar, by monitoring, there are a lot of things our behavior can tell about us that we don't know. They studied very well. Cambridge Analytica today is called Auspex. There's this small business analyst who worked for the Emirati government. Suddenly, he became the only investor in a company called Auspex. I can verify it, I can deny it, but how come a business analyst be the only investor and bring all the executives from Cambridge Analytica to Auspex? Auspex are known to fiddle with democracies in Africa. They're known to fiddle with democracies in the Middle East. They're known to be really good in spreading misinformation. They are political campaigners. The Freedom House published every year the Freedom Index, and for the last 17 years, freedom around the world been in decline. No one knows the reason. One of the theories I have is in 2007, with the decline, so 2005 started the decline, 2007 actually, the smartphones came, and then social media came after, and with the more use of social media, we're having decline in democracy because unfortunately, not only access to information, but also knowing so much about us and how that thing can be used against us. I'll put the slides online, you can have them. That's why I started. So in 2020, I was very desperate, I was very disappointed to see how we don't own the digital world anymore. It's owned by, I'm a computer scientist and an ethical hacker, and I always protect you from bad people. And suddenly I see good people, technologists, are doing bad things to us by collecting all this information about it, by making us addicted to our technology, by selling that technology to dictators. And then I started the Ethical Technology Society with a hope that we can come places like this, talk about it. There are 8 initiatives that I have under the EthiTech or the Ethical Technology Society. But I wanted to know what's your human rights that's mentioned. It's highly your digital rights, your digital rights, or how you use technology, or how technology is using you actually today. It really impacts our human rights, and impacts it in that mass surveillance, that violation of your privacy, that censorship. We see now in Gaza one of the tactics of war. They completely shut down the internet, so people under siege can't even get the truth out. We see that in Uyghur, we saw that in Kashmir, when they completely shut down the internet for 6 months. And we see that how internet shutdown is being actually used as a weapon. Cyber warfare, when Ukraine and Russia happened, what was the first thing happened? It was a mass attack on Ukrainian websites. It was mass cyber attack. So now cyber warfare is not really detached from the physical world. What happened last week? Ports in Sydney, around Australia, that is real. It is real. So we can't detach anymore from the digital, the impact, how it really overlaps with our everyday life. Who we are, we're a group of passionate, crazy, call us whatever, outspoken technologists, people who believe in human rights, but also who believe that we want tech to be used for humans. We don't want it to be used to undermine democracies and human rights. We have lunches every month. We hosted in the Reactor in Sydney Startup Hub. If you follow the EthiTech, you will always find the next one. This is the annual forum, and we have working groups of 8 initiatives. Please, we have the 8 initiatives all around the room. You can, and we have sticky notes. You can put your name if you want to join one of these. One of it is really, we're trying to draft the first Universal Declaration of Digital Rights to be annexed to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Because guess what? That time they didn't have smartphone and social media. We need to update it. And one of the initiatives is really we want to urge schools to teach people who learn coding and computers. We want to teach them ethics. I didn't learn ethics. In the US, computer science to graduate, maybe 1 or 2. Now they have to study ethics before they graduate. We want to do that. So there are a few initiatives. You can go through them in the break. If you want to follow Digital Rights Group to learn, sign up to any of these mailing lists. Please learn about your digital rights.